Hey, welcome back to Sober Now. I'm Jim Lapierre. Today we're going to talk about not settling. It's always amazing to me when I talk with people in recovery, instead of asking me how to do something, I'm often asked how to not do something. And that starts with how do I not drink? And my smart ass answer that I give people is, well, you don't go to the store, you don't purchase the alcohol, you don't bring it home, you don't open the container, you don't pour it in a glass, you don't raise it to your lips, and you don't swallow it. That's how you not drink. But what people, of course, are really asking me is, what am I supposed to do instead? How do I cope with emotions or life without alcohol? And it took me a long time to appreciate this, but what we're really doing is stripping away vulnerability and admitting that we need something. Somewhere in our early adult years or late adolescence, it became progressively unacceptable to us to admit that we don't know something. And it takes a certain amount of vulnerability to ask really personal questions and admit that we don't know things. So, quite often, when I work with people in early recovery, sometimes even with long term recovery, what I'm asked is not how do I do something, but rather how do I not do something. Okay, so today we're going to talk about how to not settle, because settling is something that we do subconsciously, dishonestly, and the truth is we're applying addictive thinking to justify staying within our current comfort zone. To have more in our recovery, in our career, in our lives and relationships requires that we not be complacent, that we continue to have goals, that we continue to have really great support in our lives, and that we draw from it. And there's a point at which there's a risk that we might take, there's something uncomfortable that we know we need to do. And so our addictive brains will get to work explaining why we can't do that, why it would be irresponsible or even reckless to do that. And we start this process of lying to ourselves so that we can justify staying with what's comfortable. Now, of course, what's comfortable is good stuff. Maybe it's even healthy stuff. But what I think I want is never as great as what my higher power wants for me. It's never as good as what the people who love me want for me. And so if I have a willingness to continue to grow and to reach outside of my comfort zone, I'm going to have a safeguard against complacency, and I'm going to continue to accumulate experiences and really great people in my life. And so I don't want to settle. I don't want to settle for anything. I want all of it yesterday. But I also accept that I have limitations. I have to do things very consciously and manageably. And so to continue growing means that I have to be aware of how my addictive thinking sometimes wants to hold me back. And that's always fear. It's anxiety, it's lack of familiarity, it's what if I fail, it's what if this all becomes crushingly disappointing. And then there's also, of course, what if I get hurt? Well, I've lived long enough and well enough to know that not trying ensures my failure. I've lived long enough and well enough to know that failing is okay. Failure teaches me things. And when I fail, what I'm going to do is get up, dust myself off, reach out to some friends, reach out to people who know more than I do, and then improve my efforts. I like the expression, I'm in the efforts department, my higher power is in the outcome department. I don't need to have control over situations or people. I'm free to explore new experiences and new opportunities. And I really like having that mindset. But I know that for a lot of us, fear is just too big an obstacle. And the biggest mistake we make with it is dealing with it alone. When I talk with people who maybe they have faith in a higher power, maybe they don't, but all of a sudden they're talking to me about luck and fate and destiny, There's a common expression that people use with me, I just don't think it's in the cards for me. And I'll say, well, then it's time to get a new deck, because I don't know who's reading your tarot cards, but I think you can have a lot more in your life than what you're settling for. This is particularly true in terms of intimate relationships and partnerships. Those of us who really have only ever had unhealthy partnerships still have this desire to be with somebody who's really good to us and have a loving relationship that's healthy. But every time that we're disappointed, every time that a relationship ends, every time that we find ourselves having applied a bad picker again, it gets harder and harder to have a willingness to try again, and we start justifying why we shouldn't try or why it's just not meant to be. So, whatever the next piece in your journey is, whatever the next challenge is or the next goal could be, my guess is you're like me. If you're the only person involved in that process, it's probably not going to happen. But if you can introduce some accountability and some encouragement and support into your life, then your chances just went up exponentially. So, I hope that you continue to safeguard against complacency. I hope you continue to grow and bring new and great things into your life. If you got questions about how to best do that, email me, jim@sobernow.com. Please give the video a like and a share. Let's continue this conversation with friends and family. And please be especially good to yourself today. Any small gain that you can make today, you're worth it. And I promise, just don't settle. Just notice your addictive thinking. Just practice some rigorous honesty with yourself, and things are going to continue to get better. Have a great day.